Hello, all you viewers, and welcome to Dr. BMS. Today, I would like to talk about a situation that often arises in our families, and we find ourselves grappling with decisions on how to take care of the situation. As usual, before we proceed, I would like to ask you to subscribe to our channel, Dr. BMS, so that you can get more of these educational videos as we produce them. So the issue I would like to talk about today is dealing with alcohol and drug abuse and addiction in the family. This is a situation that many families find themselves in, that a member of their family is abusing alcohol and drugs, or is outrightly addicted to alcohol and drugs, and they find themselves in a dilemma to act or not to act. And if they are to act, how are they going to act? And so today I would like quickly to discuss about this, so that we help those families that are stuck in decision-making process to be able to make their decisions better and faster to help this person. So as we said, when someone is in addiction, it is you, the one who is not in addiction, who can help them, because addiction is a mental disease, and once it gets someone, then you have to help them. It's like they are fallen into a ditch, and you, the person who is outside, is the one who can extend your hand and pull them out. So you need to deal with this situation. So how do we deal with a situation where one of us is abusing drugs or alcohol, or is addicted to drugs and alcohol in the family? They're just 4 steps, and I'll quickly talk about them. The steps can be summarized as: recognize the problem, diagnose the problem, act on the problem, and finally support the recovery process or the resolution of the problem. So recognize, diagnose, act, and support. And so quickly, let's then start. How do we recognize and diagnose? I've formulated these 11 simple questions, which you can ask yourself, or let the person in addiction ask themselves, and they can help you both to recognize and to diagnose. Both self-diagnosis or diagnosing another person who is a member of your family or your friend who has a problem. These questions are not in any order, but they are wholesome. And for each of these questions, you see a progression, a worsening of the situation. I'll quickly just go through the question and let you to internalize them and ask them, so that you help yourself, and that's the purpose of this video today. So question number 1: do you frequently think about or glorify drinking, smoking, gambling, or whatever form of addiction you are in? Does the person you are thinking about as having a problem, who you want to diagnose, do they frequently think about or glorify drinking alcohol, smoking marijuana, gambling, smoking, snorting cocaine, taking drugs of addiction, over-the-counter drugs, all those forms of addiction? Number 2, do you think gambling will end your poverty? This question is mainly about addictions to do with behavior, like gambling. If you think that by gambling you're going to solve your problems of this world, like poverty, you will win big money, then you are likely to end up in addiction. Number 3, do you think, or do you find it difficult to stop or to miss even a day or an event to do with your drinking, your smoking, your gambling, your addictive behavior, even if you wished to. Number 4, do you feel bothered or guilty? Do you try then to conceal your behavior because you're feeling guilty inside and you don't want to show your guilt, so you hide? Number 5, do you use money or food or money for rent when it is supposed to be used for rent or food, but you are using it to drink or to smoke, to engage in your addictive behavior? Do you miss a day or delay on some important obligations, like you're supposed to pay rent by the 5th, but you haven't paid and you're calling the landlord to ask for more time, to give excuses, when in fact the reason is that you drank part of the money or you used it in your addictive behavior? Number 7, do you drink, smoke, or gamble during work or school hours? So do you engage in addictive behavior when you're supposed to be doing something else, like being at work or school? Do you need, number 8, do you need to drink more, to smoke more, to gamble more every time? You started by taking just a bottle of alcohol, smoking a puff of weed, but now that bottle is not enough. You need 2, you need 3, soon you need a whole mzinga. Number 9, do you drink, do you smoke or gamble or engage in addictive behavior to fight frustration or emotions, negative emotions? You constantly are feeling low, frustrated with negative emotions, and you think you should go and drink alcohol, you should smoke some weed, you should go and gamble, play sport pesa to cool your mind, then you are likely to end into addiction. Number 10, have you gotten into trouble as a result of your addictive behavior? You are drinking, you are gambling, you are smoking. Have you gotten into trouble with the police, with your wife, with your father, mother, your neighbor? That may be a pointer to a problem. And lastly, number 11, do other people say that you have a problem? Do people backbite you? Do they point a finger? If you answer yes to any of these questions, then it may point that there is a problem. If you can answer yes on behalf of someone, one of your family members or your friends can answer yes according to you in each of these questions or any of them, then you are likely to have a problem. And so when you have answered those questions and you have diagnosed, what do? We said you diagnose, then you act. And in taking action, we normally advocate for practicing faith with action. This means you see there is a problem and you have to do something. Don't just pray. Don't just wish. Say, oh, my family member, I hope he will change. We are praying for him, but you are not doing anything. The Bible says the faith without action is dead. And in rehabilitation, in addiction treatment, we say faith without action is dead. So do something. Practice tough love. Tough love may mean that you make a decision which this person who is sinking into abuse and addiction may not like, but it has to be done. And sometimes we advise families to take persons who is in addiction even by force into treatment. That is acting tough but with love. And remember, prevention is better than cure. If you act today, if you act early, it's better than when you wait until the problem is severe. And so in taking action, hierarchically, what can families do? He asks families first to start with counsel at the family. Talk to this family member. Find out if they have a problem, if there's something stressing them, so that you try to solve. And if that does not help, then take this person to a professional counselor, a professional person who can help this person find out what is happening with them, why they are sinking into drug abuse or addiction, and what can be done. And at the third level, if that professional counseling, usually at an outpatient level, does not help, then bring them into rehabilitation. That is usually the final step. At rehabilitation, we put all the tools at our disposal together to help this person, and normally the results are usually good. Then the last step we said is to support. So when someone has fallen into abuse or addiction and you have taken action, you are showing action, not just faith, what do? You support them in recovery. And remember, recovery can be a lifelong process. So you need to support them all the time without failing. And in supporting this person, avoid enabling and codependence. We've talked in previous videos what enabling and codependence is. Briefly, enabling is when you make excuses for the person who is in addiction so that they find it easy to continue their bad behavior. If they fall into trouble like the police, you bail them out. If they miss work, you call their workplace or school on their behalf to lie that they are sick when in fact they drank too much last night. Codependency is the other side where you yourself, you seem to depend on this person's drama or behaviors, and so you expect them and you prepare for them. If they have gone out drinking, for example, you can't sleep, you stay there waiting for them to come, because in a way you are expecting them. In a way you have accepted their behavior and it's part of your routine. You have internalized it into your routine. You are codependent. Avoid those things, and we've talked about them as I've said. Instead, practice tough love, like I've said. Insist on skills development. If this person is to recover, you have to help them learn how to be strong. Like they say, teach a man how to fish, do not give them fish. So insist on them getting skills to be independent, to be away from drugs and alcohol. In rehabilitation center, part of rehabilitation program is skills development, and practice support supervision. When they are in recovery, they are no longer using these drugs, you need to support them all the time because they start from a weak point, there are temptations around it, but you need to support them as they become stronger. You supervise and you support them in a loving way. Lastly, please be patient. The process of recovery from drug abuse, alcohol abuse, addiction is not a one-day fix issue. It's not like turning on a switch. We come to rehabilitation and we give you this magic injection and you walk away. No, it's different from treating malaria, for example. It takes a lot of time. It takes a coordinated effort of the therapists, the family, the whole society, and you need to be patient as you go. Sometimes there are flip-flops, people relapse, and they may sink back into addiction or abuse. You may have to bring them into rehabilitation a second time, but ultimately, if you're persistent and patient, it works. So families out there, I would urge you, when you have a member of one of your own who is abusing drugs or alcohol, sinking into addiction, please recognize the issue, diagnose it by asking those simple questions I've told you about, act, and support them until they are fully recovered. Thank you very much, and see you again in the next video.